Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. The meeting will be starting shortly. While we wait, let's learn more about Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well. Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. The meeting will be starting shortly. While we wait, let's learn more about Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98
Meeting
and 22.
to order. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. It's been a while. It's good to see you all. It's a meeting of the Facilities Advisory Committee. It's July 27th, Thursday night. Let's start with a roll call. So Alan, we'll start with you. Okay.
Mark Layton.
Yep. Chris Weeks, present.
Rob Corson, present.
Julie Gilman, Selectman's Rep, Select Board Rep.
Okay. Who wants to take the minutes tonight?
I'll do it.
Okay. So Alan, we don't have a secretary, so we just kind of rotate through each week and take the minutes. All right, so now we're on to item number 2 on the agenda, which is my favorite part of the night, I gotta say. We're probably pretty delinquent on our nomination and election of chair and vice chair. I've done this for a couple of years. It's been good. I appreciate it. I'm ready to step aside and let someone else carry the mantle just due to personal workload and things like that. It's tough to keep this stuff going. So, and Amanda was the vice chair before she resigned, so we have 2 openings. So I'll open up the floor to anyone who wants to nominate someone.
Or volunteer.
Or volunteer, absolutely, for chair or vice chair.
I volunteered to take the meeting minutes tonight, so I'm done for today.
So Rob was the chair before I was, Alan, so I don't know, I guess this end of the table.
It's taken care of.
I'm trying not to make eye contact with him today.
Well, I could probably.
Can't do it. I'm
Right, you can't do it, so I don't know, Mark, would you be interested in being chair, and then Alan, would you accept the vice chair at all, or nomination at least, and we can vote on it, or?
Do you want to be the chair or vice chair?
I don't want to be the chair. I wouldn't have time, and I'm not familiar enough with the proceedings.
I understand.
I'll vote anyway I can. I'm busy and I have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I travel quite a little bit. So.
Rob?
I hear you.
Yeah, we're nominating you.
You're good at being the chair, so your experience and your expertise
right now,
is crucial.
I don't have the.
I don't think any of us.
bandwidth.
It's like last night. I got in at 1:00 coming from Baltimore back. So
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's a short flight.
it is a short
What are you
flight.
complaining about?
All you need is a pilot,
And a
crew,
seat.
and a plane.
I mean, it doesn't sound like we have a choice. So I've not done that yet, so I'll take the turn.
Okay,
So
that would be great. So,
I'll-
we'll vote on it.
Yep.
So the nomination, Rob Corson nominates Mark Layton, and I'll second the nomination, and we'll vote on, all in favor of Mark as the new chair of the Facility Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. And a vice chair, just in case And if you were smart, you would have a vice chair that you could pawn some stuff onto as well.
Well,
So
Alan, do you mind?
I'll help you out.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
I'm happy.
sounds good. So I'll nominate Alan Mangan as the vice chair. So we have a second on that nomination?
Second?
Okay, all in favor of Alan as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned. No.
There is a requirement, though, is that as a, what do they call it, the former chair, you have to still continue to serve on the board for another 2 years, right?
It'd be the minutes.
Making up
taker.
stuff as he goes, so. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and hopefully we can get another member here at some point, and then, and I think everybody on the board does a great job, so I'm happy with anyone as chair and vice chair, to be honest with you. I think any of us could do a good job. All right, so that's done. That was my favorite part of the evening. So item number 3 I have is well, I guess we could go with either item 3 or item 4. Item 3 is a recap of the facility condition assessment. I guess let's start with that. Dave, you may or may not know what's going on with the DPW with the facility condition assessment. I know it's been a while now, so.
Yeah, we got, I forget when it was. It might have been a couple months ago now, I forget exactly, but we got like a subject draft of this building with like the pictures and how they're gonna lay it out and so forth. But that's all we've received. The final
really?
report is still pending.
Okay. Do they have a timeline for that? What have they told you?
I'd have to look in the, proposals online. I'd have to pull that out with their schedule. I have it in my computer, but I thought it was like this summer.
Yeah, I
what I
thought
thought,
they'd be
too.
done by now,
Yeah.
to be honest, but I don't remember.
It may have been, I can, go check exactly when they said they would be done, but
Yeah.
I think it was around now.
So Dave, can you just explain it again? You got a draft report of the town office
Well,
buildings? That would,
yeah, like they called it a subject draft.
okay.
And I think the purpose was, and I just, Russ had just sent to me, like, because they didn't send it to me, because I'm like, it's DPW's, and he just said, FYI, and I was reading it, it's a subject draft, so it just had one building, but it wasn't completed, it just kind of showed the format and how they were going to set it up and how they ranked things and what the different levels of criteria meant, like 1 through 5, what it kind of was and so forth. So, it looked good to me, but it wasn't, an analysis, a full assessment on the building, but it was more just, this is how we're going to do it.
Like the formatting.
All the buildings,
Yeah.
what do you think? And I think they've talked with the DPW and, whether they suggested any changes to that subject draft, I'm not aware of, but
Okay.
all I know, I just talked to Paul about a week ago and it was still pending, the report's still pending.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know too what the digital side of it, they're supposed to hand off in a digital format.
Right.
Something, and then I want to know how that's going to get integrated with what DPW has now with PeopleSoft, I think it was. So.
Yeah, we just got a draft this week of the CIP, and Jeff Beck did put a CIP item in talking about that a little bit, about, integrating it with GIS and PeopleSoft and so forth, so.
Oh, so they might need it.
But I'm not too, I haven't talked to Jeff about it, we just got it, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, hey, if they,
So is Jeff the lead on this from the DPW side, or is it somebody
He's
else?
the main point of contact,
Yeah.
yes, because he's the maintenance
supervisor.
supervisor, so, he's responsible for the maintenance of all the buildings, so it makes sense.
Yep, no, that sounds good. Do they have a director yet? I'm just
No.
woefully out of, oh, no, okay.
We got someone, maybe,
Okay.
but not yet.
Looking for a new position?
No, we could lure Jen back out of retirement, maybe, or.
Doubt it.
Should we ask Jeff to do an update at some point soon? Jeff Beck?
Yeah.
It's just to come in.
Yeah, just like a written update, or do you want?
No, either way, whether it's just a,
Drop in and.
yeah, probably whatever's better for him.
Quick overview, yeah. He would probably prefer in person, that way he doesn't have to do a report or anything. All right, so that's moving along. Any other comments on the FCA from the committee? No? All right, let's move on to item number 4, Public Safety Complex. So this happened a long time ago now, and we haven't met since this happened. But that did not succeed at the ballot. I think it got 57% on an extremely low turnout day. What were the total votes? It was less than like 2,000 total votes, I think.
Yeah, 891 yeses and 669 noes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 15, about half of what the usual, I mean, we get,
Usually get
high
around
2000s.
20%,
Yeah. And then it failed by 45 votes.
Yeah, that's too bad. So, yeah, we haven't followed up on that or discussed next steps or anything, so I don't know, Dave, what are you guys thinking on your side as far as next steps?
Well, we've had the draft CIP that just came out. We did put it back in for for next year's warrant due to the close vote and half of the usual voting turnout because of the snowstorm. So they're putting it back in the draft CIP, and then it has to go through the process, and you folks, and planning board, and budget, and select board, and so forth. But I reached out to that end, since I knew they were going to, I reached out to the professional estimator who had given us the original numbers and said, what's the number? Because it was, the number for 16.3 was a buyout in quarter 2024. And I said, now that's a year out, so what's the anticipated buyout for quarter 2025? And he said, well, I can confidently say it's going to cost more next year than it is this year. And I have been carrying 7.5% a year. So we added 7.5%, that brought it up to 17,522.5. And I think they put it in as 17.6 in the draft CIP.
Can we get
for the same, for the same project.
Okay.
The draft CIP, can we get a copy of that, or is that online?
Yeah, no, it's not, I just got it.
Okay.
I mean, actually, it isn't even out yet.
Okay.
I'm in the process of reviewing everybody's sheets just to make, like more editorial and so forth. And we haven't even issued it yet, but as soon as it comes out, yes, I will send it to you folks, planning board, and get it out there.
All right, any other comments or questions on the public safety complex?
So there's no discussion about looking at the project differently or anything, it's just trying to redo it as it is, and, which I'm not against, I'm just.
No, I know,
Yeah.
that was
Just
in the
put it back
discussion
on.
so far. It's been fairly limited, but that has been the discussion so far.
Yeah,
To bring it back, just due to the, what transpired in March and the turnout and so forth.
okay.
And there was talk again, I mean, I reached out, I don't know, several months ago about the 20 Court Street, and it appears, it's like, we're not proposing really anything at this point except for the fire to take over the space. We'd like to get the facilities condition assessment done on it and see what that, the facilities condition assessment done on it. To see what.
Existing police and fire station.
Exactly, on the existing police and fire. We don't have that right now. We don't have that yet. And we're gonna, I think we need that as the next step.
Right.
That wasn't part of the original analysis of with LaValle Brenzinger? They didn't do any sort of assessment?
Not like, no,
No.
not facilities condition assessment, not like Bureau Veritas is doing.
I thought that they did, I thought that was part of the first. Yeah, okay, no, that's fine.
And it was done way back when the group out of Concord did it. They did the
Oh, when they
police
did
and fire.
They did this study,
Yeah, they did it, there's a fair amount in that.
Which one, the 2015?
Yes, 2015 did the police and fire as well.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah, so they identified quite a few things in that one.
Well, that and then I forget the name of the company that did the operational assessment. I forget.
I thought that's what Rob was talking about, that's too.
No, I'm talking about
You talking about Turner, was that?
the Turner, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Turner did
okay.
the,
Oh, Turner,
the facilities conditions
Turner,
report.
and then there was, I forget what the name of that company is. Municipal or something like that, I forget. Yeah, they,
Yeah,
Unitas?
that was,
I don't know.
Bureau Veritas is doing the facilities condition assessment now.
No, but who did the assessment for operations?
the police and fire.
Oh, that was MRI.
MRI.
Yeah, that's it.
With LaValle Brenzinger.
Yeah.
Sub them as to do that piece, the operational.
Yeah, it did have a lot of it wasn't the rating facility condition assessment like they're doing now, but they did have a lot of info in there of their report, facility related. And we did not put the public safety complex in the list for the FCA this time.
Thought we did.
I don't know.
I think we did.
I know we had a
Yeah,
list of
Thought we did.
Because we actually, when we went back through, we put certain items back in that were high value properties that,
Yeah, because after we came back, we put it out and we got these ridiculous numbers and,
yeah, we chopped down the number
Yeah,
of
we
buildings.
chopped down.
I forget exactly what we.
yeah. But, because they were all in there and then we kind of finagled them and kept the important ones.
Yeah. All right, and yeah, that will be interesting to see. So, it would be good to hear from Jeff just to see what the state of that FCA is. I'm hoping they're close to wrapping up.
Yeah, and if Jeff can't make it for some reason, I will make it a point to get all up to speed on
Okay.
where it is. So in the event Jeff can't attend, I will have a more knowledgeable report on it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Anything else on public safety complex? No, and I have to say, I've been remiss. Sorry, Alan, I forgot to formally welcome you to the committee. I should have done that at the beginning, but Alan Mangan joins us. We're very happy to have him. I think you've been a member for a few months now. We just haven't had any meetings, so.
Yeah,
But welcome aboard, and we're glad to have you. And
thank you.
I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, experience.
Moved to Exeter around 10 years ago. I moved up from Boston. I lived in West Oxbury for quite a long time. Worked a lot of different construction jobs, traveled, a lot of traveling and international stuff. And then, just wanted to get more involved in the town. So I'm a facilities director for quite a while. Worked in healthcare for the last 8 years, and now I work in banking industry. Nobody dies in banking. That's what they told me when they wanted to work with them. They said, nobody dies here. I was like, okay.
No, that's great. We're very happy to have you. Thanks, Alan. All right, so the next item, number 5, new business. Does anyone have items for new business, or Julie?
I do.
I'm guessing, yes.
I think a while ago, you may remember that the Arts Commission is driving the bus on upgrading the town hall to a more modern facility for different events and types of enjoyment. So they solicited a firm out of Portsmouth, Arcove, to do a historic and existing condition survey. And Dave's getting you copies of the progress report, which I will also email to you, so you don't have to have the paper one. And, I went through the building, 3 times, once with Arcove and their historic survey person. They had drawings from Public Works, but they were not complete enough, and so we had the town hall plans from 2016, I think. Sent them on so they had those, they didn't have to measure the whole building again. They just needed some verticals, so we went through up and down, looked at all the rooms, opened all the doors, except for the jail cells. I don't think we got into those.
Oh, there is a jail cell?
Yeah, when it used to be the police station and district court. And then I went through with the State Historic Preservation Officer and Deputy Officer, who had never seen it, and they were thrilled to walk through the building and look at what's there. They didn't make any recommendations, on anything that we should change or shouldn't change. We have to do what we have to do. But they were thrilled and recommended an L-chip grant if we find that there are things on the outside that need to be done, like a substantial repointing or something like that, which I don't know yet that we have to do that. That would be a question for Jeff. But they did, we do have some work to do from the Department of Labor. Have you heard about that thing? Department of Labor came through all the town buildings.
Oh, we did. This is the accessibility upgrades? Yeah, okay, yeah.
And safety. And they found a lot of problems in the town hall because we have people working there, and we open it to the public. The biggest thing for me was the balcony around the main hall. Has such a low wall height in the front that it's a tip over danger, and they want to either raise up something or take the whole thing down. So there are a couple options. That's not original to the building. That was put up in 1911, I think. But it's a historic feature because it's been there so long. So there are a couple options. One is the Department of Labor has put up some glass that can withstand 400 pounds of weight, or 350. I'm thinking hockey arena? But we could do something else, like have, on one end of it already has a metal pipe kind of rail on just one little section. So we could do something like that, only make it match the ADA requirements and the 4 inches and all that. And then we can sell those tickets as obstructed view seats. They didn't really mention anything about the seats, but we should have Melissa Roy come in. She's our assistant town manager, and she's working with the Department of Labor about those kind of things. And there are all sorts of issues where you have to step up into the art gallery and step down into the hallway on the second floor, and accessibility issues, lack of bathrooms. Everybody's.
You can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
Elevator to the second floor.
There is.
But you can't get from the elevator to without going up and over and around and other things. So
it might be locked.
This is ultimately, I don't want to cut you off, but why we keep talking about the fact is it really does need a vision, and it needs a program, and it needs to understand what the investment is in property, and that's why we kind of talked about originally that the FCA and exactly what you're talking about really give you some of the deficiencies of the building, and then that kind of also said as you're moving forward and you want to make it more accommodating to what?
Yeah.
And that's where, I cried, we need a town hall master plan. We can't, because the immediate thing was HVAC. We have to have that. And there was actually some movement to just go forward. Somebody got a quote for how to install, I don't know what system. And I said, hold on, we don't want to do one thing and then take it out so we can do better electrical work or something like that. So there is a committee, hasn't met yet. I think you were volunteered to be on it. There are a lot of stakeholders, the Energy Committee, facilities, definitely the Arts Commission, because they're really intent on upgrading the sound and the lighting and just making it more comfortable for performances and exhibits and events that happen there, and just to keep it a year-round possibility. So with the Department of Labor safety things, we've had to cut off access to the balcony, and amongst other things. So actually, we're not leasing it out to anybody. It's not available for renting, which is sad because everything's happening at the high school now. So this committee that we're forming hasn't met yet, but there's this committee, the Arts Commission, somebody from the Energy Committee, and HDC, Heritage Commission, DPW, Dave, if he wants to be on it, Melissa. Not everybody has to come to every meeting because, HDC really doesn't have to do with the inside. Heritage has some input maybe, but not necessarily decision-making. So we haven't set up any time yet, but this report is ready for us to start meeting and having public meetings, but we first have to get ourselves together with the information that's here and see. And the Arts Commission had done a survey a long time ago about what people want to see in there, so that might drive some of the where do we put what kind of things.
Julie, what's the name of the committee? Is there a name?
It's just, right now, it's the Town Hall Committee.
Town hall.
Is that, so it's going to be official, so putting in the meeting minutes, it's official now, Town Hall.
Town Hall Planning, or Master Planning.
Plenty descriptive.
Yeah,
And I don't know whether they put in here any of the information regarding our town master plan and,
I did show it to them,
yeah,
yeah.
so that'd be a good one just to, kind of tie those. I'm not sure if it is in here, but it'd be a good one to find out what we have tied in, because I know the town, this has always been it's been one of the major attractors and an asset to the community.
So was it in the town master plan that was done? Was there elements in there that
Yeah, I mean,
talked about this?
they have significant town monuments, right, or things that are part of the town. The downtown area in general is one of the major assets, and then town hall is a major asset.
Okay. And
One of the things about the town hall is that it's in the Nationally Registered Historic District, but isn't itself registered as a single resource. So that's another thing that the Historic Preservation Officer will work with me on getting it registered. That might open up some grant funding, federal grant funding, which was not available to us right now. So
What are the limitations on that, though? Would it preserve it just as is, or can you do some sort of?
it's really an honorarium. It's not really conditions. They would like you to preserve it as they see it when it goes on the National Register, but what happens inside, unless it's called out as an important feature,
You have some leeway.
yeah.
well, you got to do something to make it usable for the audience,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
that's that balance of keeping it, preserving it, but also making it
Right.
usable to keep it preserved. So
And that's what the historic survey is for.
Okay.
We wanted to get that done first before we start talking about let's take that out, let's put that in, move the bathroom upstairs and that kind of thing.
And was the town hall included on the FCA, the facility condition assessment?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yes.
sure. I think
Yeah,
this
that's one of
was the town hall,
So we're just, double
a few
doing
other
things.
buildings, yeah.
So all this stuff can be incorporated into that, then once we'll have one document that identifies all these issues that, especially the DOL stuff.
So, Dave, you know how to do Doodle polls or Google polls or
Yep.
whatever polls it is.
Doodle polls.
If I give you the names of the people that have been volunteered or assigned to be on this committee, so we can all have an introductory meeting and plan.
Use that the way to determine when the meeting time is going to be.
Yeah, just send me an email. Yeah, I can set it up.
Okay.
I just need their emails.
Yep. I have them.
So it sounds like the next step is just to get that committee meeting and then figure out where to go from there.
Prioritize and change the institutional green. That was the first thing that the preservation officer said. Ah, yes, the institutional green is the natural office color. That's a minor thing, so.
We just happened to have some green paint around and decided that this was the right paint.
For everything.
Are you going to try and open it? Like, is the priority to open it and then trying to renovate it afterwards, or just keep it like that and then renovate it now, or what's the priority? Like
That's
to
part of what we need to plan
Yeah.
is when can we open it because of what work we want to do and what's the priority and I think HVAC and electrical are probably our biggest priority, but we have to know what we're going to do with
And
it.
that's what's good about the FCA, is start to give you an idea about, the infrastructure, associated with the electrical service and things like that. So then the historic part of it, at least, will give you, hopefully, either that you can either find out what the wall types are. So obviously, as you think about a masonry building with HVAC in it, if you don't have the dehumidification and other things, that you get into other complexity with a historic building. So sounds like that works already in the wind, so that's good.
I mean, is it, do you think the overall intent will be to renovate the main floor into some sort of, I don't want to say theater, but some sort of
Performing arts and,
Yeah, okay.
we already do like the Festival of Trees and things like that.
Would it be permanent? Well, I guess that's.
Well, yeah, that's what its
permanent
function
seating
is.
and, if you want some high,
No permanent seating because it's
Okay.
got a flat floor, so,
Multifunctional
yeah.
gathering space to,
Community center. I got a movie license once to be able to show movies in
oh,
there.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, I guess I was just thinking too about, high-end audio-visual stuff, lighting, special lighting and things like that. I guess that would have to be equally flexible and thought out.
Yes, and so we need the input from the audio TV guys too, and that are going to be handling it for the most part.
Yeah, that's going to be a tricky one. And then would that be a CIP item at some point once you get to the...
It depends on how we do it, and if we can do it in stages
some
or,
grants too.
Yeah.
Okay.
but yes.
Well, like the LCHIP grant is a matching grant, so you have to have some money to put up.
But again, that's really for, they wouldn't go for modernizing the building, they'd go for preserving or returning to
Okay.
its natural state.
Natural state. Okay. Any other comments on the town hall? No? Any other new business items?
so I just want to, obviously, what I have is Rains Farm. We kind of, whatever happened,
I've driven by there, the siding is off the building,
Right.
so
So
they're
they
starting to do something.
got their grant money that
Yep.
they're moving forward on some of the work associated with that.
Their trouble was finding a contractor.
Well, I
They
believe,
had to put that off for a year.
and wanted to know really ultimately what's happening, the Court Street Parks and Rec building. And then we got the Hampton Road. I know that there's work that's happening that was, but we're doing modernization of our additional work. It was $800,000 worth of work, or some
$1 million.
$1 million worth of work.
$1 million worth of
really?
work. Greg Bisson got a grant from the Community Development Finance Authority. It was like a New Hampshire state program that was created.
Yeah.
And he got $841,000.
Wow.
And they matched, the town match was $155 for a total of, not $1 million, $996,000. And the $155 came out of a combination of existing funds, the revolving fund, like, 30 grand each, 30 grand, about 30 grand from the revolving fund, impact fees, energy credits, and the park improvement fund, that is the capital reserve fund that's funded, and they counted the funds that were already spent and the improvements that were
unusual
made
for a
as
grant.
match. So it kind of answers your question about 3032 Court Street too, because they just got this grant and they're going to modernize the building. I mean,
So I thought the plan for that building was that
There's
Parks and
no
Rec
plan
was
yet.
not gonna. So I think that was one of the original things when we went and looked at the other building, is that the intent was that they were gonna improve that building and move services to that building versus keeping two.
correct, they are.
Yeah.
That is the plan,
Yeah,
right?
but the thing is they were planning on moving shortly. Like moving all their operations
Would've
and
been there
leaving
last year.
3032 Court Street, and then we had a building that, we
Yep.
were to reuse, right?
Yeah.
But now they just got this grant, so they're in a conversation of instead of moving over there and then having $1 million worth of work done, can they be there during that?
Right,
No.
so they're gonna use it as a.
Exactly. So now it's kind of, you know, put that on hold for a little while,
makes sense.
and they're not moving yet until they figure out, you know, what's going to happen and when they can. So I'm not saying it's delayed, but it might be. And
Right.
it sounds like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, if you can avoid that, avoid it.
You know, if you're putting $1 million into a building, it's probably a construction site.
But can you, just for us, can you, just a quick synopsis of what they are going to do to the building? I mean, they're fully moving completely over there now, so it's going to be more of a community building too, right?
Yeah.
That's the plan, that's what the money's going to be spent on, is for offices, and they're going to have meeting spaces, and it's
They're
for...
opening some walls to make it larger meeting spaces and
Yeah,
some
reconfiguring
accessibility
space.
issues and,
Second floor is not ADA accessible. It would be ADA accessible,
It will be,
because
yeah.
right now they can't, I think they can't even use it.
No, it's,
no, not for public.
Yeah, exactly. So that's gonna be part of it too. So it's a pretty extensive
they have a
renovation.
plan?
I don't know the details. I haven't seen.
Okay, I'm doing more for here, but that's...
yeah, that'd be good to, I mean, I'm not sure who would give us the deals. We would just contact Greg and find out from him if he's got a plan to share with the group, just so it would be good to kind of have eyes on it and, as we go forward.
Which brings up, what do we do with 32?
I was gonna ask that. So is there a plan to do with the old building?
The select board has not talked about it at all yet, and I have ideas, but,
Care to share, or you don't want to let it slip?
well, my idea is to take the whole planning and building department, you know, on that side of this building, and move it over there.
Move Dave over there?
Move Dave
Wow.
over there. You know, something, I'm just throwing thoughts out
Yeah,
there.
no, I've heard that. I've heard that.
Just
And Bill
neat.
Keegan is doing a study of the operations.
Yeah.
An operational analysis of town hall and like the structure and so forth, and looking at how the organization is structured.
Who is this?
He's a
This is
consultant now.
a consultant.
The select
who's-
board hired.
Yeah, select board hired him to come in and kind of look at look at planning, building, look at everybody and see the organization and maybe, make some suggestions to improve efficiency and so forth. So,
That, and we need a succession plan for our department heads, because like Dave's not here, who is? You know, police and fire have done a good job lining themselves up and growing people from within, but we don't really have that for most of our departments. So we asked this fellow to come in and do that kind of, interview everybody, see how that's working now. Maybe there's some, star material some person has that we don't know about that could help us out in a different area than they're in now.
So obviously, this is like a very typical kind of building use assessment scenario, where you're basically looking at your assets, you're looking at your departments, where those departments particularly go. I know we did one of those probably 15 years ago.
What the
the one I was mentioning is more organizational and planning, not really space.
No, but it's the idea of, it would be organizational, but we use that ultimately to determine from a highest and best use, where you have your spaces available, what ultimately, and that ties into really this FCA and a lot of the stuff that we talked about initially, which was from a planning standpoint, the FCA gives you the idea like, okay, is it worth investing in the building at Court Street as a public access building? That's how we get to this point right now, where Parks and Rec couldn't use it and couldn't use it as an access point, and now so it'd be nice to kind of start to link some of these things together as a larger community planning exercise about, where things end up, like the town hall,
And there's
this
pros and
building.
cons to moving people out of this building, just because of the kind of historical, everybody knows that if you need to get a license or permit or something, this is the one place you go. So there's some consideration on either how it functions for the different.
There's a few space concerns.
There's
Yeah.
definitely
And
space
then they're
concerns.
talking about possible finance, because they're kind of disconnected and potentially could bring them here.
That does bring up one of those things where we were to think about this as a more community asset for, all your assets, to sit there and say, from a space type talking about the town hall, right? So this is part of what we talked about a long time ago, which is a large multi-purpose public space that could have multiple functions, right? You have a space here which has multiple functions. The library's got a multi-function space. So from a utilization standpoint, how do you begin to sit there and say, what is the highest and best use for each of those facilities? And so if this building right here, it's, say, the select board or whoever doesn't want to meet here but could meet in another public space, could you move all your equipment into a different space?
So that's what you had mentioned about 15 to 16 years ago when whatever that committee was called, that three of us were on.
Yeah.
So we talked about the town
Reports
hall.
online, you can search for it.
So that we talked about creating the meeting spaces over there and taking this space over, and this would be an office building type thing, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So the Novak one would go over to the town hall. You'd create a large space, and then you'd have a smaller space. So I mean, I don't know if that
I've never
operation.
heard that, but I mean, what I can tell you is I've been in this room where you can't fit anybody out.
No, this is not.
I mean, and people, down the stairs and down in the wheelwright room watching on the TV. I mean, it's infrequent, but it happens.
Yeah, but I think it's not a great meeting space. I mean, you get distracted by people walking up the stairs. I mean, I think it's yeah. I always thought that was a bad.
And I think it goes back to the point is that as we're looking at all these things, is that this does lead into why the FCA we thought was the first component of identifying your facilities, understanding their limitations, and then now you go into the next level of this, which is to sit there and say, these are the types of spaces that the community uses. We have public meeting spaces, we have office spaces, we have all these different space types from a programming standpoint. Now you divide them up either by departments, and then you start to look at, okay, well,
Associations.
right. Where do these are we utilizing the ones that we have to their fullest? And so.
But you're getting that. So you're doing the next step after the FCA,
Yes.
which is the facilities. It's a facilities master plan.
Yeah.
So it's taking. What you're starting with, then you need to know what your program is, what your operations are, and then you fit those two together with what you
It
need.
sounds like you're doing an operational one now, so to me, it seems like a really, really good time to start. You got the FCA, you've got the operational. Now it's sitting there saying, okay, what assets does the community have? Which the FCA has the buildings, and it has a lot of the assets. Now it's going back through and starting to take maybe the next level of that would be is to sit there and from a programming standpoint, you've got a new library. Now you know what Court Street trajectory is, so a lot of these things are coming together that you could start to this right here.
Do you feel like they are, just throwing it out there, that the town hall could be treated separately, I guess, from the discussion about where people go and the services provided and that kind of thing? And I'm only asking that because the target use is as a community center for performing arts or, activities.
Not meetings.
Not meetings, yeah.
Not me.
What if you could do both those?
Right.
What if you have? I mean, some of that could come down to scheduling, though, right? So you have a space that could be used for performing arts, but once a week it's used for select board meetings or something like that, or
And I don't think
We do that now.
Yeah.
yeah. But if it was kind of ramped up, though, right? So that it's
Yeah, so I'm just
better.
asking, I guess what I'm asking is can this be a discrete thing so we can go forward with it, or?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that, me personally, it would be nice to know that the determination that it's been slated for what you described, I guess that would be new to me, and I'm not saying that it's not the right, it could be the right purpose, but I think it would be the community getting behind the whole idea about what is the highest and best use for these particular things, but like we did the survey, remember back when we did,
Yes.
way back when, and the library became by far
number one.
the number one by far most used facilities, and I thought that was it was helpful. We got a lot of fairly decent responses back then, but this brings the community in to sit there and say, I would love to know that most of the community would support that is a community center, and it's for the arts, and it's for this particular thing, because it solves a lot of the other dilemmas, right?
Well, the Arts Commission did do a survey, yet another survey, right? I think it's on their webpage. It's quite an extensive number of questions that they asked.
Yep.
I think the questions were fair. They weren't pointed to, please say this. So that will give you a lot of what, and most of it was, we want to see this be a community activity center.
So would you see that survey, though, in just by the fact that you were isolating that particular building as being a little bit swayed because it was only focused on a specific use for that specific building, or would it, if you were to include more facilities with, I haven't really seen it, so
No, I think it was focused on that building because of the history of how town centers grow and the activity grows around having always, something more often than we do now, right? Even when it was open for leasing, it wasn't used once a month even, so the idea was to make it a more active center of town than it has been in a long time. So it was being looked at for that purpose, and what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
So,
well, that goes back to the utilization, right? So if you sit there and say, if it's only used once a month, now you have this building, which is a nice building and everything else, so from a highest and best use scenario, are you using it for your highest and best use, and are you getting that, the value at it for the majority of the public? But I'm just bringing it up because I think, to me, I'd like to see all of them included, but I could see it being separated out.
discrete.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question, because I don't want to have domino effect happen.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, I think you could almost keep it discreet as long as like yourself and others knew that there's other big picture questions so it's not like you're going to start construction in the next year, but you're planning this, you're talking about this, and then as these other things develop, I mean, you being part of it, and you'll know that, hey, maybe this is going well, but this could be incorporated with these other discussions that are happening. So, I mean, there's, especially with, is it 3032 Court Street? Is that what the address is? So, I mean, if that's open for use, I mean, could that be incorporated into the arts a bit better instead of the second floor of the town hall? Could there be some options there that help free up space in the town hall? I mean, it's definitely underutilized, but it's almost like if you build it, will they come type thing, you know what I mean? So if you improved it, would you have more people wanting to use it?
Well, I'll tell you that it's not the Oyster River Players, or maybe it is them, that puts on plays once or twice this summer, I think, once or twice a year. Can't use it now. They wanted to use it in May or so, and they had to go out to the high school for it. And people are expecting those things to happen, but again, it's not very frequent. And so if it was upgraded to be, like, there's no green room, they have to run upstairs to change their costumes, and things get lost. And
it was a couple years ago, was it, who was doing the plays at Christmas time, at the holidays? Was that Prescott Park, or was that they came in and did?
That happened.
Maybe 3 or 4 years, pre-pandemic.
No, it was probably Oyster River Players or Pine Street Players.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Pine Street Players from the Episcopal Church.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think, again, if you had a more of a performing arts center, you'd probably have a lot more interest in.
We did have 1776 perform there one year at the Independence Festival, and I would like to do that more often, more years than just that one. That's a personal thing. But the idea is to get it to a place where it's attractive to people from outside our community to come in and use our space to introduce the community to, maybe compete with some other towns, for action.
The consultant that was hired, are they also going to look at Public Works?
The one that was hired for the town hall?
Yeah. No, the town hall, the town office, the organization and operations.
Oh, yeah, it was more like looking at, the
Operations.
the structure, the management structure, they looked at the entire,
But Public Works included?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, because that was one of our suggestions
The entire
before.
Yeah, answer my next question.
The entire organization.
Okay, I would just, because we had suggested that, because as they were developing a a plan for the Public Works complex or whatever it was that we had suggested that they look at their department, so.
Yep.
Okay.
I do know they are talking to Weston and Sampson, I think, about facilities for DPW. Do you know anything about that, Dave?
Yeah, they are, I mean, oh, Weston,
I don't know if it's
I
like an
forget who it is,
interview or
but
if they've
what
engaged
they are, in the draft CIP, LaSalle Architects conducted an analysis in 19, 20, and 22. I mean,
That's what that's.
FY 19 and 20.
Yeah,
That's
what we
the same
looked at.
people, yeah, that did the
When you said 1922, I thought you meant they did it like
FY 19, FY 20. In FY 21, survey of the recently attained parcel was undertaken, wetlands were delineated. And then in 22 for 50,000 was not approved, so they didn't go ahead. It was gonna be to have the architect and the site engineer collaborate on locating facilities and
Yeah.
fuel islands with site circulation in mind. They are proposing in the draft that you'll get is to move ahead with the fuel island in 24, because with the idea, and I think they've been talking about it, not to, get ahead of this, but put it in a place that meets the overall site, but I guess it's, it's a critical juncture that they need a new fuel island. So they are proposing just a standalone fuel island for 24. But beyond that, I'm not sure.
Okay, any other new business items then?
Not yet.
I think
what time is it?
yeah.
7:30.
Well, it won't be new business by the time we have some business here, so.
All right, so I guess before we adjourn, moving forward, I guess a couple more things. One would be a regular monthly meeting time.
Yeah.
If this works, we could try to do it, although, Julie, I don't know. Does the select board meet in here on Thursdays, like every
No.
other Thursday? Oh, no?
Mondays. It's
Oh,
the
Planning board.
planning
right?
board.
Yeah, it's planning board, but are we off the week of the planning board meeting?
Yeah, they're the second and fourth.
Oh, planning
10th?
board.
Well, if we continue, are you suggesting we continue with this time frame every month?
This time, but yeah, I just want to make sure we're not
Like the last,
bumping up against anybody else.
But instead of setting continuing time, so if-
Okay, the second and fourth is, Thursday is planning board.
Okay, so maybe the third Thursday?
that's HDC.
That's
Oh,
HTC,
HTC.
yeah, Thursdays.
Kill us.
All right, another day, Tuesday, Wednesday?
I'm pretty, anytime after 5, I'm
Yeah, I'm usually around most
Tuesdays,
evenings.
Concom meets on Tuesdays on the second
Yeah,
Tuesday?
yeah.
No,
Wednesdays.
third Tuesday?
Yeah, we're meeting next week, water and sewer at 6:30, we always meet on Wednesday.
water and sewer.
Who's that?
Water and
Water,
sewer.
sewer.
Yeah, we're always the,
I mean,
That only meets quarterly, right?
yeah, we got a good few recently, it feels like.
I'll pull up the town calendar, just make sure, if you come up with an idea.
I know for me, the first week and the last week, I have no meetings except for select board meetings, so that there's not a lot of activity in there, as far as I know.
Can we target Wednesdays and just do the last week of the month?
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, is that, and then if there's a conflict?
Conservation
Yeah, that'll be
Commission's
good.
second
It should be-
Wednesday.
They change or something, so it's usually like the chart Wednesday. I'm good.
So we look at the 4th week?
And second Tuesday.
Yeah, I do the fourth, the third is Heritage Commission, the third.
Third week is, but if we look at August 30th, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think that would work for me.
But we're just talking about.
I think this time frame works best for us.
The 30th of August, is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's the fourth Wednesday.
Fourth Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the 4th week of the month, right? So, yeah.
It's actually the
Wednesday.
fifth.
All right.
At 6:30.
And I can try to vet that tomorrow. I'm just looking here, the fourth Wednesday in August is not up as an agenda item yet. It
Okay.
goes to August 24th on the town calendar, but I don't think that's taking off.
Actually, I have the facilities already scheduled on my calendar for the 23rd.
It's the 23rd. That's the week before, though, right?
Well, that's what we,
Yeah.
it was originally, like, when we first
Back when?
kind of decided, it was the once a month was, I think, Wednesday at 5:30, but then.
It was, yeah, I think it might even been 5, so I think
Or
we were
5.
penciling in from 5 to 6:30, but, yeah, I know that was tough, especially for Alan. It was-
Fourth
wasn't a good
Fourth
time.
Wednesday?
But, so the third Wednesday, there is a conflict, you said, with another committee,
Heritage.
Heritage Commission, so if we do
Fourth
target.
Wednesdays, I think, are free in general.
And what's the time?
Just double check
We'll
that. I can
target that
double
and-
check that
yeah.
and just make sure, because this committees, I don't know when they meet, so I'll dig into, the committees that I'm not aware of, but no committee I'm aware of meets on the fourth Wednesday.
What time do we want to target? 5, 5:30, 6?
6:30, I think, is good, because, yeah, Alan, when we did it 5, Alan was having a hard time with that. Understandably, it's not your
I
fault.
tried to escape from work, but frankly, that's making my calls.
Yeah, so I think like 6:30 at the earliest is probably
Okay.
our best bet.
Well, at 6:30 then?
Yeah, 6:30 to,
Fourth Wednesday of the month at 6:30?
yeah, for an hour and a half.
So like you said, Mark, that would be, the next meeting would be August 30th?
I think so.
No, it'd be the 23rd. There's 5.
There's 5, yeah. It'd be the
Wednesdays.
23rd.
Oh, so that's,
Yeah, the 5th.
oh, yeah, okay, so.
That doesn't matter to me. That time I'm not in the country that time. I'll
Yeah,
get-
do the 5th Wednesday and you'll meet like twice a year.
In leap year, yeah, it's like, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
The way we're going, that's about how
Yeah.
we'll have this year.
All right, so it's going to be August 23rd at 6:30, right?
But I won't be in the country that day, so it won't matter to go to time. If you want to do it earlier, I'm
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, we should just pick a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I
stick with
think
it.
Stick with the time. Yeah, and as long as we have 3 people, we have a quorum. We're usually a 5-person team. We just need 3 to have a meeting, so.
I could zoom in, but I'll be 5 hours behind, so it'll be 8 in the morning, and we can go then for you.
No, that sounds good. And then the other thing is, I know, gosh, who's the gentleman who's the chair of the Budget Recommendations Committee? Kelly, what's his first name? Bob Kelly. So I know Bob has made some entries in the past to talk with us before we make any recommendations going into CIP season, so I recommend it. I can volunteer to talk to him too, just to see what's on their agenda and what we're thinking about. So far this year, we don't have a lot of recommendations to make, but I guess we haven't seen the CIP either, so I can reach out to Bob as my last act as outgoing chair.
That would be great.
Talk to him and, just get us in alignment going into CIP.
This is last for all.
And on the CIP, I have to get it out to the planning board in their packets on August 3rd, next Thursday. So it will be done before then, so that's the latest date you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and I can reach out
Not
to Bob.
tomorrow, because I'm still gonna be, but early next week or mid next week, you'll have it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I'll reach out to Bob in the next few weeks to get with him. And I think that is it. Does anyone have any more items before we adjourn?
No.
Nope. And move to adjourn, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Well, no, wait, first we have to say thank you, Chris, for
Okay.
Oh, yeah, thanks,
leading us
Chris.
for the last couple of years. And
Yeah.
Sorry it's been so terrible lately.
Yeah.
We've all been pretty busy, so
that's for
it's been
sure.
tough to get together. But we did put enough effort in the previous 3.5 years. Where
Yeah.
I think we earned a little bit of a break. Yeah. So, all right, so I'll second the motion to adjourn. All in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nice have it.
Oh, get it to the gavel.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, last time.
There you go.
That's time for now.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.